Let's talk about why that is. And it really has to do, and this is the interesting part, it's not a matter of willpower. It's not even a matter of lacking information, knowledge, or understanding, but it actually has to do with how our brain functions. Now, I'm a total brain geek, so you're going to have to bear with me as I explain this, and then we'll drive it home and make it personal. But the thing with our brain is that it's designed to keep us alive. In fact, it's more concerned with our survival than our happiness. As a result, it's like a 24/7 surveillance system. Our brain is always looking for and responding to anything that it thinks could be a threat to our survival. And what determines threat is the emotional cues it receives from us, or our emotions. So, for example, let's say I run into a bear, which happened last year. I was talking with Lucas outside one night. I think I shared this last year with you guys. His jaw dropped, and I'm like, I'm not saying anything that deep. I look over my shoulder. 10 feet from us is this huge black bear. Now, my whole insides responded like that. That's the alarm system of our brain is designed to do that. So the automatic response of my brain and all of our brains when we're in a situation like that is it prepares our body to mobilize, either to fight, flee, freeze, or fawn. And it does that by raising our heart rate. It makes all blood go to our extremities. It shuts down certain functions. We breathe differently. So it's a biological thing, and it happens like that. I wasn't saying, okay, body, I need to do this. Can you help me? No, my alarm system noticed the emotional response in my body, and it responded. Now, that's an awesome thing about our body, the way we're created. That's like amazing. The problem is, if you've been through narcissistic abuse, some of the things that our body views as dangerous are not dangerous, like emotions, right? With narcissistic abuse, we weren't allowed to feel. I wasn't allowed to feel. I wasn't allowed to be happy. I wasn't allowed to be angry. I was really allowed, I had to be gray. You know, they call that gray rock to get rid of narcissists, but narcissists want you to be gray. They don't want you to have any color. They don't want you to have any emotions unless they can dictate and provoke them. And so what happens is our limbic system starts viewing emotions as threat. When it sees that, the same bodily responses that my body put me in when I saw that bear were happening when shame, fear, anger, pain came up in my body. Again, I'm pointing this out because with a traumatized nervous system, actual threat and threat of feeling an emotion get like crossed to your nervous system. They mean the same thing. And the reason that that's happening has to do with a phrase called emotional hijacking. It's your brain doing this. So for example, I'm going to explain what emotional hijacking is and kind of see if this, again, if this is helping you to make sense of those times when this happened to you. So there are two key components with emotional hijacking. There's our amygdala, which is responsible for our emotional processing, and our prefrontal cortex, which is our thinking area of our brain. So we can also call our amygdala like our child mind, and the prefrontal cortex like our adult mind, right? Because the amygdala is responsible for our emotions like children. It's all emotion, no logic. So during an emotional hijack, our amygdala has the ability and power to shut down or turn off your prefrontal cortex's reasoning process in order to take over in a situation, which in an emergency situation is awesome. So for example, going back to the bear, let's say that bear didn't just look over at me, which it did. It just looked at us and was like, I could care less about you. But let's say it didn't. At that moment, it would have been a waste of time and energy for me to be thinking about what to do. So the way our brain is made is the thinking shuts down and the survival piece takes over, and we act. And we do what we need to do in whatever trauma response our nervous system says would be best. So again, our amygdala, our child mind, turns off our prefrontal cortex or adult mind. It's an amazing process when we're in an emergency. But when we're sad and we're lonely or we're feeling shame or anger, normal human emotions, and our thinking brain turns off and we're flooded now with the emotions, then it's not so great. And the thing is, narcissistic abuse has drilled it into us that emotions are dangerous. Spontaneous emotions are dangerous. And so if you've ever abandoned yourself when emotions were coming up in your body, hopefully right now you can be like, oh, it's not that I wasn't trying, or it's not that I don't care. It's not even that I don't know this information, but this is a thing. An emotional hijack causes the amygdala to turn off my thinking brain. When that happens, the thinking areas of our brain, it's almost like they're paralyzed, which means our IQ drops. We lose the ability to make complex decisions. We no longer see others' perspectives, and our memory becomes compromised. So just pausing. That's a lot of information, and just I'm really curious as to how that's landing in your body.